You've been carefully saving your money. You put $1,000 away, maybe in a savings account, maybe tucked away somewhere safe. You check on it, and the $1,000 is still there. But what if I told you that half of it has already vanished? This isn't about a thief in the night. It's not about a bank error or a market crash. This is quieter, slower, and far more systematic. Somewhere between your morning coffee and your grocery receipt, something has been silently stealing from you. It's a system designed to make your savings worth less over time. In this video, we're going to pull back the curtain. We will uncover the hidden story of not just how your money is losing its value, but who profits when it does. This isn't just an economics lesson. It's the story of a massive, silent transfer of wealth that's happening every single day. Let's get one thing straight. This isn't just about prices going up. The real disease is that your purchasing power is going down. Every dollar you hold buys a little bit less than it did yesterday. It's like trying to walk up a down escalator. You might be taking steps forward by earning a little interest in a savings account, but the escalator of inflation is moving down faster, pulling you backward with every step. To understand how powerful this effect is, you just have to look at history. $100 in 1913, the year the Federal Reserve was created, has the same purchasing power as about $3.20 today. That represents a staggering 97% loss of value. The cash itself didn't disappear, but its ability to command goods and services was almost completely eroded. This erosion is constant. There's a simple financial guideline called the Rule of 72. It helps you estimate how long it takes for your money to lose half its value. You just divide the number 72 by the annual inflation rate. So, with an annual inflation rate of 3%, which is considered mild by many economists, it takes just 24 years for your money to be worth half of what it is today. That $1,000 you saved becomes $500 in real, usable value. That's not a hypothetical, it's simple math. Your money is on a clock, and it's ticking down. So, you have to ask the question, is this quiet theft an unfortunate accident of a complex economy? Or is it a deliberate feature of the system? The answer might surprise you. It's a feature. Central banks around the world, including the US Federal Reserve, don't just tolerate inflation, they actively target it. Since 2012, the Federal Reserve has explicitly stated its goal is to maintain an average inflation rate of 2% per year. They reaffirmed this goal as recently as their latest policy statements. Why would they intentionally devalue your money? The official reasoning is that a little bit of inflation encourages people and businesses to spend and invest their money, rather than hoard it. This, in theory, stimulates economic growth. If you know your money will be worth less next year, you're more likely to use it today. It creates a sense of urgency that keeps the economic gears turning. What's fascinating is how the very definition of the word has changed. A century ago, inflation referred to an increase in the supply of money. Rising prices were seen as the consequence. Today, the definition has flipped. We're told inflation is rising prices, a sleight of hand that conveniently obscures the cause, the continuous creation of new money, and focuses only on the effect. This isn't a conspiracy. It is simply the mechanics of modern monetary policy. It ensures that the value of currency is not static, but is in a permanent, controlled state of decline. If the value of your savings is constantly decreasing, that value doesn't just disappear into thin air, it gets transferred. So, to understand why this system persists, you need to follow the money and ask the most important question: who wins? The first and biggest winner is the government. As of early 2026, the U.S. national debt is approaching a staggering $39 trillion. How can such a massive number even be managed? Through inflation. The government borrows money in today's strong dollars, and over time, it repays that debt with future dollars that are worth less. It's like taking out a loan and then getting to pay it back with monopoly money. After World War II, the U.S. significantly reduced its massive debt-to-GDP ratio, not primarily by paying it back, but by allowing inflation to erode the real value of that debt over several decades. The next winner is the debtor, especially those with large, fixed-rate loans like mortgages. Imagine someone bought a house in the 1970s for $23,000. Today, that house might be worth over $400,000. Yet, they paid off their mortgage over 30 years with dollars that became progressively weaker and easier to earn. Inflation made their largest debt shrink in real terms, while the value of their asset exploded. This leads us to the third and most significant group of winners, the owners of assets. While your cash savings are losing value, hard assets are doing the opposite. Their nominal prices are rising. Since 1971, U.S. home prices have risen by over 2,000%. The stock market, as measured by the S&P 500, has historically provided returns that significantly outpace inflation. People who own real estate, stocks, commodities, and other scarce assets see their net worth climb, funded by the very same monetary expansion that devalues the savings of those who don't own those assets. If you're finding this breakdown of who actually benefits from inflation eye-opening, take a second to subscribe to the channel. For every winner in this story, there has to be a loser. If governments, debtors, and asset owners are winning, it's because someone else is footing the bill. The primary loser is the person we started with, the saver. The person holding cash or putting money into a traditional savings account is on the losing side of the transaction. If your savings account pays you 1% interest, but the annual inflation rate is 3.8%, you are losing 2.8% of your purchasing power every single year. Over 20 years, a starting principal of $100,000 in a savings account with those kinds of returns would end up with less than $70,000 in real, spendable value. You did everything you were told to do, you saved diligently, and you still ended up poorer. The next loser is the wage earner. While wages do tend to rise over time, they often lag behind the inflation of assets and essential goods. Your paycheck may get bigger, but if the cost of housing, healthcare, and education is rising even faster, you're falling behind. This is the feeling of running faster and faster just to stay in the same place. And finally, the people who are hit the hardest are those on fixed incomes, especially retirees. They have spent their entire lives accumulating a nest egg, only to watch its purchasing power get chipped away year after year. The cost of living adjustments for pensions or Social Security often fail to keep up with the real inflation that households experience, particularly in costs like healthcare. They are the most vulnerable because their ability to earn more income is limited, and they are forced to watch their life savings buy less and less, right when they need it most. So how does this transfer of wealth actually happen? The mechanism was described almost 300 years ago by an economist named Richard Cantillon. It's now known as the Cantillon effect. The effect states that when new money is created, it does not enter the economy evenly and simultaneously for everyone. Instead, it is injected at specific points. Think of it like pouring a jar of honey onto a table. It doesn't instantly cover the whole surface. It pools in the middle first, and only slowly spreads to the edges. In our modern economy, that middle of the table is the financial system. The new money flows first to the government, to large banks, and to major corporations. These entities get to spend the new money at its current value, before it has had a chance to circulate and cause prices to rise. They buy assets, stocks, bonds, real estate, pushing their prices up. By the time that money trickles down to the average person in the form of wages or small business revenue, the prices of everything have already started to increase. You're getting the new money last, but you're paying the higher prices first. This is why it feels like asset prices, like the stock market and housing, often seem disconnected from the everyday economy. They are getting the new money first. The Cantillon effect is the hidden engine of wealth inequality, systematically benefiting those closest to the money printer. Confronting this reality can feel disheartening. It can feel like the game is rigged. But the solution isn't despair, it's understanding. The moment you understand the rules of the game, you can start to play it differently. The first and most crucial step is a mental shift. You must stop thinking of yourself as a saver of currency and start thinking of yourself as an owner of assets. The system is designed to punish the hoarding of cash. Therefore, holding large amounts of cash over long periods is a guaranteed way to lose purchasing power. This is not financial advice, but a simple observation of history. The data clearly shows that over the long term, ownership of productive assets, things that generate revenue, like stocks in companies, or scarce assets, like real estate, has been the most effective way to preserve and grow wealth. The goal is to have your money in things that will rise with the tide of inflation, not in something that will be eroded by it. It requires moving from a mindset of passive saving to one of active investing and ownership. You have to make your money work for you, because if you don't, the system is designed to make it work for someone else. So let's bring it all together. That $1,000 in your savings account isn't just sitting there. It's in a slow, managed, and deliberate state of decay. This decay, which we call inflation, is an official policy. It is a system that quietly transfers your purchasing power, your future, to governments deep in debt. It's a silent tax that you never voted for, but that you pay every single day. So I'll leave you with one final thought-provoking question. If inflation benefits governments and penalizes savers, and governments control the very institutions that set inflation targets, what does that tell you about whose interests the system truly serves? If this changed the way you think about your money, you'll want to watch our next video on the 3 asset classes that have historically beaten inflation. It's on your screen right now. Thanks for watching.